we coming into the post 2025. There are lots of things to do. The situation changed. You know, this year and in the past several years, we saw a lot of exception, abnormal situation occur in this world, including enhanced global change. I think everybody have already feel the extraordinary heat in the northern hemisphere, and also other anthropogenic problems that cause agriculture in danger to secure food security. There are a lot of things to do to make this better. And on the other hand, with the undergoing digital transformation of agriculture for better production, better nutrition, better environment, and better life, in this, Geo really can do a lot of work. And today we have excellent speakers here. We will address the topic, just as Alice mentioned. So we will explore how the next generation geo infrastructure will be to support, especially agriculture and food security sector better, and also how can we integrate open knowledge practices with food and agriculture and food security thematic area. And also, the last mile is quite important. What's the barriers for us, for the end users to adopt open knowledge? So without further ado, we start the presentation. So I will be the first one, okay, to kick off the session. I'm Zhongxin Chen with Food and Agriculture Organization. Okay, I will talk about agri-thematic problem. Yesterday I talked a little bit about that. Today I will give a little more details on that with some use cases. First, I'd like to introduce the concept of agri-food system. Next slide, please. Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Okay. Yeah. So I'd like to introduce the concept of agri-food systems. This is not new one, but when it was adopted by IFIO 2022 to 2031 framework, so it got widely accepted. For agriculture, the agri-food system is really a huge system. It's not only agriculture, it's including other sectors related to agriculture with the value chains, including production, transportation, storage, and consumption. So that's really a huge system we should address, we should take care of when we address food security. It's not only including the rural area, but also urban area, we should take into consideration. In this regard, so there are new requirements in this field. For example, how we can monitor the urban agriculture and also food loss and food waste. Let's contribute about 1/3 of the food production. If we can do something little for that part, so it is could be very useful to solve the problem for food insecurity. Okay, then we come back to the agriculture platform. So we are undergoing digital transformation. We need massive information, a lot of the geospatial, and also from Earth observation. So if you set up this agri-thematic platform based on our previous achievements, so we want to for better decision support, and also for monitoring and evaluation of project, and also provide knowledge information to various different levels of user, from including the user in the field and also policymakers. So I showed this map, this graph yesterday. So we not integrate data, the data product, the information, and also knowledge, the solutions. I think that this one quite agree quite well with the data work group and Geo, this open knowledge concept. And we archive different formats data and the information with different data structures and the different methodology, including this federated and ingested data and information, and also static and the streamed data. So this is quite versatile. Okay, I also show this figure. So what the point here is we are not work alone. We right now we already work more than 90 organizations, other organizations. So and also their huge number. This number shows just the increment last year. So this is already very big community here. And I will show some use cases for this platform, including market-based transformation of agri-food system. I use the geospatial and EO data here, and my colleague work on the water stewardship and annual disease management, climate smart agriculture, crop production earning. Just list some of them. I will not go through all of them. Just take some example. The platform was set up based on UN initiative called Hand in Hand Initiative to use massive information to promote the implementation of SDGs, especially SDG 1, SDG 2, to zero poverty and no hunger. So we, based on the massive big geodata, we make analysis for typology analysis for different countries to find their strengths, their gaps, and to link with the donors to improve the investment for food production and also to reduce food insecurity. So this one already done, I think, for more than 30 countries in the food insecurity country. This, and another one, this is during COVID-19, so the crisis in African countries. So we use the big geodata to analyze the crop storage. So this initial information for the policymakers to choose where this food goods and the seeds can be sold for this for their programs. And also we use this in East Africa for the Rift Valley fever district making, use the remote sense data ingested to the prediction model. It's a really success. And the last and not least, we also link with the mobile phone apps to make the information available to the farmers in the field. That's really make the information reachable and impactful for the farmer who can use the information timely to improve their food production, not only for crop and also for animal. And we already start something with fishery. And I showed this slide also yesterday. Because this is data community, I really want to call collaboration in this regard. So the idea here is not only remote sensing raw data, but also the information, the knowledge can be widely used by various levels of users. And so you can contribute. So the last slide, the challenge we're having. So we need more efficient data knowledge organization management. So to better manage and organize the data in such a massive system, to meet the requirement for different sector, different background is really challenging. I think this something data community can help us, and also the quality control. So if we really want to serve the community and to be impactful, so we should do better quality control to the higher quality data, make it more useful for the end users, various levels in end users. And we will transfer from analysis ready data to actionable information knowledge for the end user. And also I think this also data can help us in the field of the standardization to enable interoperability. As I showed, the AgroFlow is a really huge one. There are a lot of things we can do, but no one can do it all. So different sector, different contributor, how the results, especially the knowledge part, interoperable. This is the key. And that one about open data, open knowledge, and digital public good. This is a really big topic. I think yesterday some speaker already touched that. So digital public good and also club good. So there are some sensitive information in food and agriculture. So, but we can share this data in the limited group of users. That's field the concept club good. So there's a lot of things we can do. Certainly, we should embrace the new technology as AI and digital twin and so on. Okay, I end here, so I will leave more information from my colleagues to show their results. So really have a fantastic team here. The next speaker, from Africa. As we know, Africa is really a hotspot for food security, and a lot of work has been done there. And also, there's the hope for food security. I really like to hear the information from Africa. So we welcome Dr. Menghesteb Haile from GeoSAS.
Well, thank you very much, and good morning to everyone. On my presentation, I have been for 25 years with the UN, and now I'm looking at this issue from a private sector. So I just retired 2 months ago, so I'm new on the private sector, but what I'm going to try is talk about my experience in the last 25 years in WFP. And of course, the World Program deals with humanitarian assistance and food security. So I will focus, and most of my time has been spent in Africa. So what I am going to be telling you is sort of in a short version of a 25 years experience. Now, I would start by saying, well, what are the challenges of food insecurity and including environmental sustainability, those related issues. So I have 3 slides. The first slide will look at what are the challenges. And the second slide will develop that further. And then the third slide will be really looking at what are the issues that are keeping us behind. But at the same time, because here we have many experts, and so I will not go into recommendations and so on, so because that will come after all the discussions. Now, so I have 6 points as challenge to food insecurity and environmental sustainability and rural, whatever you have to. Now, the first issue is overdependence on smallholder farmers. Now, in the African continent, most of the production that we consume are produced by smallholder farmers. And most of them happen to be women or old men. Now, no matter what you do, if that continues, whether there is climate change, even no climate change, no insecurity, no whatever you have, that cannot feed Africa. That mode of production cannot feed the continent. Why? Women holding hose and digging and so forth, it just is not possible to feed the size of the continent. You have population growth, you have urbanization, so the requirement is growing at the same time, but that ability of increasing productivity is limited. Therefore, agriculture must be transformed in somehow. Now that, I leave it to the FAOs and others to tell us how should it be transformed. Because as I was working there, the challenge was, because of that, then you have food insecurity. because you have food insecurity, you have also conflicts. Now, the second part of the equation is youth unemployment. Now, on one hand, you have agricultural problem production, there is no food, and on the other hand, you have no jobs. So you have young people without jobs, then they cannot even buy food if there was. So these are reinforcing the challenge. Then on top of that, you have quite frequent and in many places insecurity and conflicts. So when you have conflicts, when you have lack of production, and then when you have unemployment, all this becomes a challenge. Of course, then add to that climate change and extreme weather events. If you are, if you are dependent on rain-fed agriculture, God does not give you major rainfall. Sometimes it is too much, sometimes it is too small. So the combination production is challenged. Now, then on top of this, you have lack of investment. Well, banks don't give money to smallholder farmers. Essentially, it is just not possible. So you have all these combinations, lack of investment, lack of essential services in rural areas. Now, I put the last, lack of information, comprehensive data analytics, and evidence-based decisions. So all what you saw above is actually becomes a challenge, and there is no good information that helps each one of those. So these are the 6 problems that I have highlighted, and these are a result of my discussions with many government officials, heads of state, and so forth. So these are quite common problems that governments see. Now, so how do you address? So I start with looking at, because this conference is about data and data sharing, so I focus more on the addressing lack of data and the analytics, because each one of those will have been a big presentation itself. Now, I have a list of what are the things that we can do in order to improve addressing data, lack of data. I talk about develop and strengthen data collection systems. And of course, this was discussed earlier on in situ and on satellite and so forth. But that is a challenge that we have. Now, then establish national platforms and so on. So there are a list of capacity building. All this have been discussed yesterday, and then they will continue discussing them. But now I wanted to focus more on the leveraging satellite and geospatial technologies, because all the other aspects are important, but why specifically, why I see satellite geospatial technologies as a challenge. Now, again, this is an experience from many years of work. Now, wherever you go to a national government, when you talk about data, when you talk about satellite data, they immediately think that their data sovereignty is at risk. They think that the data is not secure. Therefore, governments, heads of state, ministers, always hesitate to deal with satellite data. Now, if you don't get them on board, then that is a real challenge. Number 2, perceived high costs. Now, it is not, when you do a survey, agricultural survey, or any survey, it's much, much more expensive than when you can use satellite data and help it aggregate it with satellite data. But governments think that it is very high cost. Now, that is inhibiting, that is a limiting factor. And this is because there is lack of awareness, and political support. Because if you look at how much financing do you get for satellite-related GIS, geospatial from governments, very limited. I have traveled around with the continent, and in most governments, it does not even exist. Now, of course, because of that, then you have lack of investment and you have lack of technical expertise. Because if they don't see it as their priority, then they are not going to put money on it. So you have limited technical expertise. And then, of course, you have data access and ownership and the whole area of different ministries wanting different things and not working together. Now, with what we have in terms of internet and connectivity and then so on, of course, in those areas where you really want this information, you have still a challenge of connectivity and usability. The last is sustainability and maintenance. Now, having worked for the UN, we have a challenge. Every UN comes or every donor comes and say, hey, this is the best satellite data or this is the best GIS that you can use. Now, when you are done, when the fund is done, you are gone. And so that leaves a big gap for maintenance and for sustainability of systems. So I will stop here. There are 3 or 4 slides, but I will share with them. But I think I'm just highlighting what the challenges are, and therefore we can work together. So I stop here, but there are more slides that can come later. And I have donated 1 minute remaining to the next speakers. Thank you.
Thank you much, Dr. Hale. It's very useful input for either for data community and also for GEO at large. I understand based on your 25 years of experience, that's really the demands requirements from the field. So that's really valuable. And thank you very much to save time for us. Okay, thank you again. Next one, we'll talk about capacity building. That's a really big topic. And the GeoGLAM has been very good success from our beginning for the past 10 years, more than 10 years. And that's, I think their experience in capacity building will be very useful for a lot of us. And for this, we welcome Mr. Sven Hillems to share his idea with us. Please, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. I'm always happy if I can talk just after Mengestab, because then I feel young again. With his experience in Africa, we had some of those things together. And actually, I was wondering when I came into the session and I heard Paola explaining on the questions of Lawrence, I thought, why am I still presenting? She's answering everything. She showed my last slide. She explained my last slide. So on the other hand, I'm going to focus really on an important but very specific part of GeoGLAM. It's, I think, my third talk this week. So I'm not going to explain GeoGLAM. You should know that GeoGLAM is an international open community of practice focused on agricultural monitoring. But as I said, I want to focus on that middle part of the diagram. The diagram is an example of, a way of showing GeoGLAM or a structure of GeoGLAM. That might change. We have XCOM starting in half an hour, I think, or something. So we're going to be discussing that. And if you're not fed up of GeoGLAM and EO and agricultural monitoring, tomorrow we have an open science day where we have presentations from international, but a lot of Chinese colleagues as well that are in the community. So capacity building and co-design and co-development, for what exactly? Yeah, as I said, I can't do a slide or a presentation on GeoGLAM without showing this. So for this Crop Monitor is actually a system that brings together international experts, and they all look at their data and they have consensus on what they see, and they write this consensus report. But to get consensus, they need data, they need information. And some of the examples that were shown in the first presentations, like WAP or GIUS, they actually provide information to the system. The GLAM system, ASAP system from GRC, so many other systems to provide information to the system. In an ideal world, every country would have the capacity to contribute to Crop Monitor, and that's why we do capacity building. And I think some of the challenges that were discussed by brought to the audience by Mengestab is some of the things that we face. So throughout the years, there has been lots of co-development, co-design for national crop monitors. 8 countries, 1 big region. Are they all successful? Are they all continuing? Unfortunately not. And I think some of the reasons that were highlighted in the presentation before are actually that as the capacity building projects, as funding stops, it's sometimes hard for people in ministries to continue the work because they got put to other jobs, or there's another donor giving money and they move up, stuff like that. So that's something that we really need to tackle. And what we try to do within GeoGLAM, and actually I shouldn't be giving the presentation, but I have my capacity building coordinator, Makabe, in the room, and I also have the lead of the capacity building working group in the room, so they can explain this much better than I can. But we have this document where we have a guidance document on developing institutional capacity. That document is available on, and that's where the link with Geo or ODOC and Geo Knowledge Hub comes. This document is also available on the Geo Knowledge Hub. It's available in English, it's available in Spanish, and thanks to our friends from CropWatch, Hongwei is also in the room, it's also available in Chinese right now. And so these are the guiding principles that are in there. I'm definitely not going to go into detail there because I'm not an expert. The 2 other people in the room are much more experts. But so it's really starting from a user need, user demand, and then we develop the technical implementation. And to go a bit more into the specifics, so this year, in collaboration with the Geo Knowledge Hub, we had 5 webinars that actually led to an in-person workshop afterwards in East Africa, where we brought 14 countries together, experts from the Ministry of Agriculture, Meteorological Department, to actually look at the gaps and needs. But the information up front that was provided to them was first a general view of what is crop monitor, and then some of the techniques that actually can help that crop monitoring. Like I said, ASAP, GLAM, and the CropWatch system. During that workshop, we really discussed the gaps and the needs. And again, some of the points that were made by Mengestab came clearly, like what is the interaction between ministry? Is there an institutional setup for agricultural monitoring and food security? Those were things that were highlighted. From that workshop, we started with concept notes and development of concept notes for actually drafting of proposals. During the workshop, we even gave a session of a couple of hours on how to draft proposals. That was done by Mark and Andy together in the room. And afterwards, through the Knowledge Hub, we even gave a webinar on that part as well. And I think if you look at, and that's why I said, Paola, you gave away my last slide. If you look at the numbers, so in East Africa, we had, let's say, 50 people, something like that, a bit more. Through the webinars, and we had a WAPOR webinar also. There were 82 attendees from 38 countries, from 56 organizations. And in total, over the whole webinars, there were 288, so a bit more what you said, Paola, 288, 70 countries, and 184 organizations. And it's not just the numbers, but for us, for GeoGlam, this is also a way to reach out to these people. These people get to know GeoGlam. So these are not necessarily organizations with whom we've been in contact. These are countries where we haven't done capacity building, but we get questions from them. So in that way, we can expand our network exponentially. The good thing there, of course, is that the webinars, the information, the data, the tools that are being used for that are actually available on the GeoKnowledge Hub, so that people can look at the webinars, even if they haven't attended. They can understand what tool is available. They can reach out to the owner of the tool, and they can connect, and the interaction starts, and we can bring them into GeoGlam and the GeoGlam community. So I think this is really a benefit for GeoGlam, and that allows us to create more impact in our capacity building. And with that, I'm also going to give 1 minute to the next speaker.
Thank you, Sven, for your excellent presentation. That's really useful experiences for capacity building and outreach. It's really a win-win activity, not only for us, but also for the users. Very, very good. And so AgroCulture is really generous. So to donate what invaluable time. Okay, for this, thank you again. Okay, you know, in agriculture production, we have a lot of problem. One of the most very difficult one is disaster, pests, and diseases. It's even harder to do that with remote sensing and Earth observation. But for this, our colleagues have done some excellent work here. So I will invite Dr. Wenjian Huang to show his excellent work for global vegetation, pests, and disease monitoring through remote sensing. Wenjian, floor is yours.
Okay, thank you very much for Zhongxing and all. And I'm very glad to share with you how about our work maybe, and we have try to get some data and for the pest and disease monitoring and forecasting. And some work has been done at the global and level. And what we have done, because as we mentioned, because you know, as a global warming, the pest and disease are very serious. Also, as Evo mentioned in year 2022, and the pest maybe caused about 40% for the crop yield maybe loss, especially in some African countries. So it's very important to control the pest and disease, especially at large scales. And that's, so how to do this? Maybe how to put maybe the different data, different kind of the data, different data of the knowledge together to do this is very important. So, and we have done this, you know that, and for us, and we have done this with a joint laboratory and with CABI. You know that the CABI is an international organization, also focused on the pest and disease, and just this models disaster and study. And for our work, where we focused on how to do the Earth observation, this maybe some parameters to do this, then we can join together to do this work and together. So for our work, we also get some data or some support just from the different and and some in China and some international. Also, you know, and also get some data sharing from some AO products, just like maybe, and some people also just like get some about the crop, maybe the distribution about the crop growth conditions. Also some data get from the GeoGlam, and some of the, just like the leaf area index or some other parameters, and just developed by some professors, maybe just like Professor and Srini Liang or some other professors also and get this data. So, and for our work, we will try to join and then and together to do this. So, and by doing this, and we will try to and put the different the data, just like how about the crop growth conditions, how about the environment conditions, such as the soil moisture or the temperature, or then we will try to put this data together. So, and how to put this data together, how to establish some models for the and monitoring of about the crop growth conditions, such as caused by the pest or by the disease. Maybe somebody will ask me, can you distinguish, and this caused by the pest or not by the, maybe by the, just like the nutrition deficiency, or just like maybe for the drought conditions effect. So, and we have done this maybe by some, some of them by some sensitive spectrum, some of them by the multiple and this analysis. Then we can try to distinguish of the different kind of the stress conditions to do this work and to join them together. And now, and we have and also use this, and some of them with, just like Zhongxin mentioned, and with Evo. And we have used this technology with Evo for the NSP, for the plant production and division. But we also put this in the agrometrics here to do this. And we also can use maybe some map and for some countries to know how about its conditions, how about this conditions, and maybe driven by the and by its conditions, how about its effect, and maybe caused by the pest and disease. For example, and we have done some research with the Pakistan, and the Pakistan is caused by the desert locust. And then we will try to share some data and with Pakistan and to help them to know and when and where about them and Pakistan's locust and its conditions, and then how to control it and the different stages for doing this and work, just like this, and to do this. And so, and we can do this and to, for example, now we can join with the different data together, just like maybe to also for the, because some of the pest will fly from one country to another country. We will go to get the early warming, and then we will know, oh, how about its conditions? How about its will to some other countries? Then we will try to share the data from for the different countries. We'll also maybe get the cooperation with FO for the NSP to control of the pest disease, especially in Kenya or Somalia or Ethiopia or some other countries. For example, and we have done this, and some of them in the global case, such as for the desert locust, also maybe sometimes for the fall armyworm, also very important. Also maybe some of them the rust also, and for the wheat or some others. So and we also discussed maybe and then can get some support for the decision making for the governors or for the decision makers to know and when and where maybe they should control the pest, and especially for the early warming to maybe to reduce the less pesticide applications to improve the crop yield. And so, and now, and we also get some cooperation, that especially for KBO and LO, and we also get a joint funding. Another I want to mention that maybe joint funding also very important. For example, we also get some we have a joint laboratory with KB, so we can share some data by this joint laboratory. We also can get some joint funding and from Italy and from UK. And so, and by this joint funding, we also can share some data. So I think that maybe FO, maybe also GO, and maybe they can get some funding. Maybe we can get more to do this. And also in these days, I also get some funding from FO to control of the palm and the disease in some African countries, just in these days to do this. So I think that maybe, and for doing this, is very important to how to do this together, how to share and with all the data, all the knowledge, and for us, and just like maybe we will work together with Telegram, we'll all some other different projects together. Also maybe get a connection with FO and Agrimatrix platform, and we can join together for this work. So thank you. Okay.
Thank you, Wenjiang, for your excellent work. Definitely, this is a really big area, and also there are a lot more work to do. Just think about how you can put in service, not only for the government agencies, but also think about how we can provide service to the farmers in the field. That's really valuable information service, and also it could be very useful for knowledge harm. So that's something concrete we can do for the follow-up. So really, for the agriculture and food sector, food detection is really big area. So in the past, our work mainly focused on the land. Actually, there are a lot of work in the ocean, in the aquaculture. So happily, we have another speaker. He and his team has excellent work on digital twin for climate, ocean, and food production. For this, we welcome Dr. Swati Beher. The floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. I must thank Paula and Bente for inviting me here. It's a pleasure to be here. And as the moderator said, I will also focus not only agriculture, but also on fishery. Bente and I'm also involved in digital twins of the ocean, in the Ocean Decade activities. And as you know, digital twins of the ocean has a similar concept of open data and open knowledge. It is kind of inclusive to all information system, which can be used by the large ocean community for their food production and monitoring. My previous speakers already spoke about infrastructure, challenges, then crop monitoring and pest control. So and all those are related to somewhat or other to climate and extreme events. Coming from a background of climate dynamics, let me start with the challenges we are facing under the global warming stress. As the UN Secretary General told us, we are now in a global boiling era from global warming era. Many regions in the world are recording more than 50 degrees centigrade. And that is not only affecting the terrestrial vegetation, but also marine lives. We have wildfires, which is affecting the human health. We talked about that a day before yesterday in the One Health session, how the smoke and other things affecting the human health, and also how the environmental stress is going to cause the zoonotic spillover, which might affect the future pandemics. So in that sense, in addition to the health, we also see that global warming and extreme events are affecting food productions through droughts and floods. One of the studies in recent years showed that under different climate scenarios, we are expecting quite significant reduction of food productions due to heat and water stress. The heat and the water stress is going to cause not only food production, not only going to cause problem for the phenology, but also, for example, how the crops react to diseases, to the pests. In a stressed conditions, I think it will be more difficult for the agriculture and food production to survive in the future climate. Similarly, marine heat waves are getting intense. We have more intense and prolonged heat waves, marine heat waves, and that is affecting both the seafood production and also causing coastal zone health hazards, mainly due to the Vibrio pathogens and also the harmful algal blooms, which is creating more toxins for the sea lives. And how do we tackle them? We have different ways. One of the ways we think is by developing digital twins of the ocean, which is kind of blending the observations. All geo observation goes there, satellites, in situ, and all the observations. The models, we heard a lot about them already. The models on the one side, and then we have the smart interface, which kind of combine observations and model results together to provide decision-making tools, and also kind of provide a tool to do experiments of what-if scenarios. What if this happens? What if that happens? What if the climate change becomes severe or less severe? And in that way, we can create a world which will be more smart to tackle and adapt to future changes. In addition to ocean digital twins, we also do climate digital twins for biodiversity and agriculture. From kilometer scales in land and meter scale in ocean, we try to fine-tune those models through user feedbacks. And I'll give you a few examples here. At the heart of those digital twins, both land and ocean, we have the ocean and climate models and the predictions. So in order to do a better what-if scenario or better decision-making tool, we must improve the climate predictions. That's what we have been doing by fine-tuning the climate models, including AI and machine learning into that, both for improving dynamical climate predictions, also statistical climate predictions. And we are doing quite well with the Syntex Frontier model we have developed at Jamstack. The model is able to predict ENSO at least 1 year ahead, and the Indian Ocean dipole, monsoon, and some other climate phenomena 1 season to several seasons ahead. So that gives us confidence that we can develop a digital twin which has a very good prediction system. Of course, we have the geo observation with us. We found that by using those climate predictions, we are able to predict crop yield using statistical models. We did that in South Africa to predict maize yield. We are quite successful in doing that, and the information is still used in South Africa. And then what we did, we coupled a crop model, a phenological crop model. It's a process-based model, not statistical model, to the climate model, climate prediction model, and then try to predict global crop yields, maize, wheat, and rice, and such things. And then we found that quite successful. They're quite skillful in several regions of the world. Major challenges here is the gridded agricultural data. We don't have very good gridded wheat data, very good gridded rice data for the whole globe. That's a big challenge. I think we heard something about that in the crop monitoring. So we hope that will improve, and that will help us not only initializing the crop models, but also validating our results and creating the future predictions with more confidence. Similarly, we are doing the virtual fish tanks for the oceans, where we can understand how much fish catch we can expect under different scenarios. And then also we can do kind of automatic identification of systems, how the system moves and how the larvae get affected by the ocean currents and the ocean health. And in that way, we can develop a sustainable fishing culture which can be used by different users. We talk digital twins, not one twin, so each region will have its own digital twin. And then we develop a network of all those digital twins by building a community around that. So we are trying to do that for the East Asia and Southeast Asia, all the marginal seas. By developing this community around the Ocean Digital Twin, we also add on to that the extreme events over land and how it is affecting the agriculture so that the user community can use a broad range of products for their own needs. And that's what is Earth Intelligence, I believe, to develop the community, to provide the products, and also get the user feedback to fine-tune it further and value add to our information system. So that's what we are doing. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Swadin. Very excellent result. In the past, the global model community and the food people, they're separated. I'm really glad to say we have dedicated global model to integrate this global ocean atmospheric copper model with food production. Excellent. And this end of the presentation part, we know this agriculture, you can say agriculture is really diversified, dynamic community. There are lots of things to say we cannot do in such a short time. So we are community together. So the floor is open for you to either ask any question or comments or something we have not addressed here. So floor is yours. Questions, comments, anything? Okay, in the rear part, okay.
Hello. Okay, Cesar Garcia from GeoLDN. So we are in land degradation. Land degradation is a very important issue to consider together with food security, since it's a multi-causal thing. So I was thinking, looking at the pest and disease that Wei Shan very well presented, that we also need to consider to have something like convergence of evidence or more indicators of where the problems are to understand then how can we solve this problem, because there are different land management affecting productivity, causing soil erosion, biodiversity erosion, water erosion. We can see a lot of different problems that maybe if we can stack them together to understand where the different issues are interacting, then we can try to find a better solution target for those areas. So focusing on how we could maybe leverage this opportunity that we are working different teams on degradation, biodiversity, climate, to put all the drivers together, we may find where all these drivers maybe coexist and how we can solve these particularities of different places. I don't know if that idea helps, and
Okay.
how can we achieve it?
Okay, yes, thank you much for thanks to comments. That's really, different areas should work together. This, we can take agriculture and food technology as an axis, to integrate this activity together and to bring impact results. Actually, we should work together. Okay, we should give that bond to that gentleman.
All right, good morning and greetings everyone. I hope you can hear me. Good. I am very touched by the words of the panel. And I have a question because my senior has mentioned something that I think we haven't been thinking about it. So I would like the panel to throw more light on. And I just want to give a case study. The Great Green Wall Initiative of Africa is spanning about roughly 10 to 12 countries, with more countries willing to join this initiative. Now, if you take this transitional zone, poverty is high, national security is an issue, issues of land tenure and issues about land degradation are very high. The owner, in fact, if when it comes to agriculture, it is mostly the women who are in charge of the lands. Now, from religious and cultural context, it is the men who are the owners of the land. So I want to throw a question to the panel, especially to my senior, that how can GEO, with all our initiatives, GeoGLAN, GeoLDN, we have several very good initiatives. And also bear in mind that this is also a region that is going to double the number of youth. So how can we come into this region to make a change with our initiatives? Thank you.
Thank you. Maybe Dr. Ali, you can give a quick response to this based on your experience.
Well, thank you very much, and your points are spot on. And I think my suggestion would be, here we are as GEO, and the Great Green Wall is actually a multi-activity. So I think it's a good interface where we should decide to use the Green Great Wall initiative as a platform for GEO and all what we are doing here, so that, because it's already working there, and all the challenges that you mentioned are there. Now, just to add to the Great Green Wall, in Southern Africa, we are also starting to replicate the Great Green Wall. So it is becoming an African movement, and therefore, I think it will be a good platform that we should be thinking out of this conference, maybe what are the specific areas that we can work on together, because all the challenges that we are looking at, they are there.
Thank you. Before we go to the next question, I want to comment very quickly on that. That's really a good question. And for this big scale, this large scale, very big engineering project, it's not simple. There are a lot of things included, and not only for agriculture, but also for ecosystem health, and even for One Health. You know, there's a big change in the environment that they could cause some problem or some risks there. I think this could be a good area. We can work together from different areas to use the open data, open knowledge, and even provide some services there to really, you know, I think the next phase for post-2025, we really need to have some impact on the land. So maybe we can think over to work together from different areas to use that as a pilot area. We do something concrete there. Okay, then, okay, we can give on to that lady.
Hello.
Okay, you can.
Karel Hrvat, Plan for All. I mentioned on Tuesday on agriculture session one very, I think from my point, very important things, and this is the topic that users, it could be policymakers, it could be farmers, etc. They are not interested about the data. Data are for them nothing. Yes, they need knowledge and better wisdom. Yes, they need to receive some what they have to do. If you will speak with some person on the ministry, and if you will show him some satellite data, he will not be able to use this and to do this. So what I see as important is thinking about last mile. yes, to have some mediator between all these very nice initiatives and to the people. It can help also with user requirements, because requirements in every country will be different, yes, and it is difficult to solve this. But if we will support in some way last mile, it could be much better. And I think that one important topic for this could be really to look mainly in the future in the development on to support in all initiative machine-to-machine interface. Because this is the key, that if I will be anybody in some country and I would like to solve some problem for my ministry or for my farmer, I can go to the pest monitoring and use some data which are there, combine this data from crop monitoring and other, and analyze and prepare exact recommendation for the person who needs this, yes? So without this, I think it is very difficult to use, because many solutions till now is a little one-stop shop. And if I am, and I have to go there, download data there, go there, look there, download data there, it is very difficult. So I see as the future really to be focused on machine-to-machine interface. And in the future, maybe that we have to start with some organization as this last mile solving. But if we will have machine-to-machine interface, it could be also in the future artificial intelligence. So I would like much more in this post-25 thinking in this direction.
Okay, thank you much. I really like your comments on that. Actually, we are working on that direction. You know, I totally agree with you. The remote sensing imagery, even the product we think is excellent, is totally useless to the farmers. They don't understand what they mean. They only know, so when I should plant which kind of crop, when I should irrigate, when I should apply fertilizer or pesticide, when should I should harvest for the best price. So I already suggest that we should move from unauthorized data to actionable information. That include the information directed to the farmers, or as you said, machine to machine. So it's really about the information. And you know, either can use directly by the farmer, or can digest by the machine to do the application. I totally agree. And for this, I think the committee here, especially for research and our university and the organization, something we can do is quite limited. We can do the pilots, develop services, but we are glad we have a project here. So for practitioners, so it's very important for them to reach out for the operation, to provide the service sustainably. That's something, I think that's the value of the community here. So we are inclusive, everybody, for the partnership between the private sector and the public. Okay, I really like your comments. For gender balance, we should give the microphone to that lady.
Well, maybe not for gender balance, but just because I have a question. But my question is actually very similar to yours, and I'd like to hear from the panel about, you know, this community knows that it is trusted data, it is trusted knowledge, but again, for that end user, whether they're a farmer, whether they're a policymaker, how do we work to get them to trust the data? And if you have examples in the programs and activities that you're working on, I'd be very interested to hear from the panel on this, because I think it does come down to helping to impact the strategic implementation plan for the post-2025 strategy.
Excellent, we totally agree. And then we can have last question, Marie-Françoise.
It's just a remark to answer Karel. Based on my experience, I have worked on many decision support systems for the forces, for the spatial agency, the launching platform in Kourou, the European one. And they were asking on the first step on this idea of having a go, no go. Is it green? Should I do that? Should I take this decision or no? In fact, as soon as they had these products, they wanted to be able to maybe access some very specific data to check, because the thresholds are never very clear, you know, you can have some fuzzy areas where or decisions which are very impactful for them, where they might need to go back to some very specific selected data to finish engaging the responsibility or taking the decision. So we are not completely rid of the data, okay? The access will be different, much more selective, but you might need to access data.
Okay, thank you very much. I believe we still have more questions. That's really area we are quite interested, and we have a big community. We will keep the conversation going after this session. So for this, I conclude the session. I thank my teams here, excellent presentation, and we just start. So a lot more work to do in the future. Okay, thank you everybody. We have excellent audience here.
All right, thank you very much to our speakers and moderator, and thank you to you all for a lively conversation. It's great to hear so many viewpoints. And now, to fuel future viewpoints, we have a coffee break. So please meet back at 10 o'clock, top of the hour, where we will start our session on water and land sustainability. So thank you all, and see you soon.